Thank you for joining us for the Lake Eola Master Plan Stakeholder Community Meeting. This is actually the first of a few participatory meetings to gather public input that will be used to help re-envision the park in anticipation of the next 50 years. I'm here with a team of people from both the city and GAI that will help to guide this process. So with that, I'd like to introduce Frank Bellamo with GAI.
Thank you, Mercedes. Welcome, everybody. It's great to see you all, and thanks so much for joining and helping us with the creation of the master plan for Lake Eola Park. We really do appreciate it, and we do need your help, and you will be helping us today. If we could go to the next slide, thank you. Just wanted everybody to know that the presentation is being recorded and is going to be posted on the project website. So if for any reason you want to go back and see it again, you can do that at orlando.gov/Eola plan. Please go ahead and tell family and friends and neighbors to go to the website as well. They can watch these presentations. Anyone who goes there also can see updates on our progress, what we've done to date, and we have done some work already to date that you'll see in just a couple of minutes. It's also a place where you can take our survey, which is critically important to us in terms of gathering everyone's opinions about the project and about the park, and Sheba West will talk more about that in just a little bit. So please go to that orlando.gov/Eola plan whenever you get a chance. We would appreciate it. Let me go ahead and introduce everyone who is with us today from both the city and from GAI's Community Solutions Group. From the city, you've met Mercedes. John Perrone is with us, Chris Wallace, Quincy Richardson, and Tara Russakoff. From GAI's Community Solutions Group, Donald Wishart is the landscape architect. Sheba West, landscape architect. Sheba's also the project manager for the park. Andrea Penuela is a landscape designer. Wes Schaefer is a planner. And then in addition to the GAI folks, we've also got with us today Max Brito. Max is an architect with Rhodes and Brito Architects. And those guys are going to be helping us as we move into the design phase with the design of the architectural components of the project as well. So Max, thanks for being with us. Let's go to the next slide. Nope, let's not go to the next slide. Hang on just a minute. Okay, sorry about that. So we've already had a kickoff meeting. I don't know if any or some of you were attended that kickoff meeting a couple of weeks ago. That meeting was really to update the public generally and the progress to date, and also to answer any questions that folks had about the park or about the public. About the project. Today's a little bit different. What we're going to do today is break into individual meeting rooms, and we're going to do two exercises that I think you all will enjoy. Should be a little bit of fun. We'll do that with you all in small groups in those meeting rooms, and then we're going to report back to the larger group on your thoughts about the park and the project. If you were a part of that kickoff meeting a few weeks ago, you're going to recognize a little bit of the next couple of slides that we're gonna look at. I need to bring those of you that weren't at the kickoff meeting up to speed as to where we are. So bear with us a little bit if you've seen these already, but we'll move relatively quickly through that, and then we'll start looking at moving into our breakout rooms. So that said, we're going to start with a message from Mayor Dyer and Commissioners Sheehan and Hill.
I believe the audio is muted.
Yeah, you've muted it, Sheba.
Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
Sound. Let me see if that works.
It's a beautiful fountain.
Can you hear it?
And big events like fireworks.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to start it over.
Yes, please.
Like Sunday yoga in the park.
We don't want to miss a word.
We expect more changes as Orlando continues to grow.
We're going to, sorry.
That's okay.
Just bear with me.
Lake Eola.
Sheba, I think you have to unmute yourself for us to hear it.
More than 3 million people each year. It's home to swans, a beautiful fountain, and big events like fireworks at the fountain on 4th of July, and small events like Sunday yoga in the park. We expect more changes as Orlando continues to grow, but we hope one thing stays the same, your passion for the park in the heart of our downtown. Thank you for taking the time to be involved in the future of Lake Eola Park by attending this meeting and completing our survey. Please also encourage your friends and neighbors to also give us their feedback. We want to know what's important to you as we shape the future for our iconic park. I look forward to seeing what the future holds. Have a great night.
Hi, everyone. I'm Commissioner Patty Sheehan, and I'm really glad that you're here tonight. You know, over the years, we've added this and added that to Lake Eola Park. We really don't have a plan for how we move forward in the future. I'm really glad that all of you are here today and you are participating. But in case your friends aren't here, we want everybody to take the survey because we want everybody to be a part of our signature park in downtown Orlando. Please take the survey at orlando.gov/Eola Plan.
Hi, this is Commissioner Regina Ihill, City of Orlando, District 5. Thank you all for attending this very important meeting for the Lake Eola Master Plan. Many don't know that Lake Eola and Roslyn Avenue are where District 4 and 5 meet. Our community knows that Lake Eola Park has been a beacon of diversity, inclusion, family, unity, happiness, and health. I believe this meeting will discuss the visions and furthermore of the ideas to come. With your and collective discussion, this meeting will truly define why we are the City Beautiful.
Frank?
Yep, thank you. Okay, so our agenda for this afternoon, we've obviously we've done our introductions. That we're going to talk a little bit about the overview of the project, our process. We'll talk for a couple of seconds about that and how we get from where we are to the final master plan. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to break out into individual meeting rooms with smaller groups of you and do a couple of exercises that you can help us with. We'll then rejoin as an overall larger group and debrief in terms of what it was that you all had to say in the smaller meeting rooms. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the survey. I know we keep talking about that survey, but it's really, really important to us. So we'll do that. We'll talk about next steps, and that'll be the end of the event. It's going to be probably about an hour and a half total. But I think you all will enjoy, particularly when we break out into those individual meeting rooms. So our process that we're going through is really a 3-step process. We are in the middle of, well, we're at the tail end of step 1, which we call the foundation. This is where we're looking at existing conditions, which we've really already done in terms of an analysis of the site itself and the park itself, as well as the context of the park within the larger downtown and even beyond. So we've done that. We've met with some smaller groups individually, like homeowners associations, those that are adjacent to or near the park, downtown condo associations. We've met with folks that put on some of the larger events within the park to talk about their experiences and their needs. And we've met with a couple of other stakeholders as well. So we've gone through that process. We're obviously within the public input phase right now. And as I mentioned, we had their kickoff meeting. This is our first interactive planning session. We're going to be doing another one tonight at 6 and then Saturday morning at 10. If you feel like coming back, feel free, but at least tell your neighbors, family, and friends, please, to join us either later tonight or Saturday morning at 10. The more input we get, the better job I think we can do in terms of the design of the overall master plan. So you can see that foundation step number 1 ends this month. So we really are coming to the tail end of that. It's important for everybody also to know we've not done any design work. We never do any design work until we've finished this investigative phase. So around December, we're going to move into step 2, which we call the exploration. That's when we do begin to do some of that design work, some planning concepts for the park, some architectural concepts that Max will be working on. That process will go from December to February, and there is a public input phase. So as we complete work, we will schedule additional public meetings and sort of reveal some of those early concepts and look for feedback from you all in terms of your feelings about what we've developed to date, things that you like, things that you don't like. That will be a process that will really go on through around February of the coming year. At the end of that phase, when we've gotten a sufficient amount of input, we will create the final master plan from February to March of 2021. And obviously there will be a public meeting to sort of unveil that master plan that we've all helped to put together. Next slide, please, Sheba. If you really want to take a deeper dive into what's been done to date, you can go again to the website. This is a screenshot of the website showing some of the graphic images that we've put together for our analysis of the downtown context and site analysis for the park. And again, in terms of public engagement, the survey is really, really important to us. So you'll see information regarding the survey and the survey at the website for you to participate in. Next slide, please. I like this pick a lot. It's really cool because I think you can, this is Eola in the 60s, and you can get a pretty clear idea of how much the city has grown around the park and the pressures that are put on the park, which you'll see in just a second. The reason that I really like this is if you really kind of study Eola Park back in the 60s, over 50 years ago, I mean, obviously it's changed, but there are some things that are constant. So the Linton Allen Fountain, which is the name of the fountain actually that we all know and I think love in the middle of Lake Eola, was there that long ago. There was a bandshell or amphitheater close to where it is today. The peninsula in the sort of the east side of the park was there. The rookery or Bird Island on the west side of the park was there. And of course, there was a perimeter walk or promenade around the park, clearly a little bit more narrow than it is today, but nevertheless, that feature was there. So, you know, in terms of the kind of the bones of the park, it has changed. Let's go to the next slide, but there were some features that still are existing today. And you can see how we have grown around Eola. And what we're really trying to do is get your opinions and your thoughts and develop a master plan that will lead us into the next 50 years for Eola Park. So we're going to break up into those breakout sessions here in just a second. As I said, we will be in smaller groups. There will be folks from GAI with you in each and city individuals with you in each to help kind of lead the conversation. And those exercises that we're going to do, you're going to see, you should be seeing a button for join breakout room in a minute, and you'll go to whatever breakout room you are assigned to. There's going to be about a 3 or 4 second delay. Don't worry. You will pop up in the correct breakout room, I promise you. And then we will rejoin here in 30 minutes. We've got 2 exercises, 15 minutes apiece. We're going to have to move relatively quickly. There's a lot that we want to cover. So I will see folks in my breakout room in just a minute, and I'll see all the rest of you in about a half an hour. Okay, so let's move to our breakout rooms.
Frank, also, I know that's an open use space, but I know that they meet and do yoga in that space as well.
Yep.
So I like that as a multi-use space.
Yep.
Okay, anything else?
Frank, there's no buildings there, right? Is that all green space?
This space right here is primarily open green space, correct? The restrooms are down here. Go ahead.
Okay.
The only thing that's in that corner also is the Union sculpture over at Robinson and Eola.
Okay. I gave it a thumbs up.
And then you've got this kind of seating area with individual seats, and you've got the Battle of the Bulge Memorial, the peninsula. The Chinese Ting is located right here.
Artie Bussavara has a lot of feedback coming from his.
I think it's Robert. Hey, Robert.
Yeah, I'll mute it.
Okay.
Anything else in this area that any of you, you know, and please don't feel like you need to all agree at all, that you like or are not crazy about? I don't know how you feel about the memorial, or the Ting has been a big thing that a lot of folks have talked about.
I'm fine with all of it.
Everybody else?
Frank,
yes, sir.
I would love to replant the palm trees in the peninsula.
Okay, I'm going to make that a like, but I'm going to put that comment. That's a good one. Okay.
That was such a beautiful, photo spot there. And it feels like it's really missing that.
I'm watching it myself. Hold on.
Anything else?
I have to step away for one moment.
No, that's fine. Go right ahead.
Hey, Frank, is there other options or something that you guys are looking at, or is this just right now looking at what we like, what we don't like?
Yeah, we really need to get an idea of things in specific things that you like or dislike in the park. And then in a minute, it's going to be more sort of feeling.
What would you like to see?
Yeah.
So this is Arthi specifically on that left-hand side, where we have not the amphitheater. We've got the Battle of it's the area that has parallel to Robinson, and it has like a pond area. I don't think I even realized that it was there. Like it's not a strong visual, and it almost just seems like I don't know if we could incorporate it more into the park.
Well, there's an area right in here that's got some water features.
Yes.
Is that what you like, that area?
I mean, I think I would like it if it was enhanced. Did we already get to the amphitheater or no?
No, we need to get over there.
I have lots of opinions on that.
One corner right now.
My husband's giving me the look. Like,
well, we do need to move. We got a lot of parks still to talk about. And by the way, before I forget, what we're going to do when we go back to the group, I need one of you that's on line right now on with us to be the spokesperson. So anyone that's comfortable doing that, please.
I can speak to it, Frank.
And that is
Nemish Balsar.
Nemish?
Yep.
Perfect. Thanks. Okay, so let's move along. How about, go ahead.
Frank.
Yes, sir.
Something real quick. Do you think it would be possible to do like a pedestrian crossing on Robinson Street?
Yes. So I'm going to say then, so you have a problem with the crossings on Robinson?
There's no crossing, no pedestrian crossing there, and it is very dangerous to cross that street.
Got it. Yeah. Yes, that's something that I'm sure is.
Yeah, I agree with him, Frank.
If I could say that right now, FDOT and the city planners are undergoing a Robinson redo, which will be redone from Division Street all the way to the Executive Airport, which will include better street crossings.
Okay.
And we'll coordinate with their work in terms of any kind of crosswalks or anything. So I'm not sure why everybody else's icons are showing up on here. It shouldn't be working that way, but that's fine. We'll keep going. Let's move over then towards more of the swan boats, the relax grill, and we'll get over to the amphitheater. Any opinions in this area over here?
I like it as it is.
You're talking about the grill, the swan boats.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
I don't feel like we use the swan grill. I mean, I think the boats are good, but I don't feel like we use the relax grill very much. I don't know what the options are for. I think that's just more personal. I shouldn't have an opinion on something I don't know very much about.
It may also, I don't know if that then means that you think there ought to be other food options in the park, or. How about anyone else in this area? Anything that you dislike? Keep going.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe if that restaurant converts into more of a grab and go rather than a sit down only. That's the only feedback I would give.
No, it's not a dislike so much, but it's not a like either. So let's see.
I do feel like we get a lot of loitering in the area because the bathrooms are there, and then there's all the seating that's by the amphitheater. So in that area, we do get a little bit of congestion.
Got it. Okay. Amphitheater area, anyone? You guys like the amphitheater, dislike the amphitheater?
Yeah.
Which one is it? We have opinions?
Angel, yes. I like it as it is.
I
Anyone
like it.
else?
I think the benches and everything else may need to get updated or something. I'm not sure if they've been updated or not, but
No.
aside from that, so, but I think the amphitheater, the concept and everything else is good, so.
Okay.
Oh, Frank, and something that I have noticed all around the park is that there's been a lot of cyclists where they shouldn't be.
In the park?
In the park, and also a lot of skaters. So I guess we need more police officers to enforce the rules. I don't know.
You know, a thought around the amphitheater, like we have that as one major venue, but what if we had smaller venues for smaller activities or events? Like I think people probably are hesitant sometimes to book the amphitheater because it's huge, you know, like what if I just need to do something that's for, 20 or 25 people, or a smaller group, and that's a theater style setting. So I don't know if that's something to consider or not.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. I'm hoping that Deborah can get back. She had strong opinions, she said, on the amphitheater. How about this corner? You know where that cast iron fountain is? It's called the Sperry Fountain. There's also the retaining walls all along here. How do we feel about this spot?
I like it.
Anyone else?
It's a great spot, but again, just a lot of kind of homeless people grouping up in that area. So maybe we can clean that area up.
Where are you now? Is this?
I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to the amphitheater because I know you wanted to say something.
Oh no, I'm okay with the amphitheater.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm okay with the amphitheater. I think it's actually a great community amenity.
Okay, good.
What I don't like is, and I know there's nothing we can do about it, but I wish we could take every building off of Lake Eola.
You're talking about perimeter built, like all across here?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I wish it was just a park. I wish it was just a park, but it would never happen. I'm sure the city could never afford to buy them. I'm sure they'd never sell them.
The just really quick, not to get off topic too much here, but the Orlando Land Trust is going to purchase the building that the 7-Eleven is in, and
is that this one here?
That's the one on the corner right here. And then they're going to continue to kind of look their way down to probably the city center next door, which would then open up an open space directly into the park. But the rest of this stuff.
I saw that on council agenda. Frank, are they, if you go back, move your picture back again, are all of those buildings going? Is this whole, I can't show you my finger, but is this whole section going?
This?
Yes.
No, just the building on the corner.
Okay, so the other one, is it the Rosalind House or something? The Rosalind?
So there's City Center, and then there's the, I forget that. Max, do you know the name of?
That's the Rosalind Women's Club.
That's what I thought.
Then then there's also a really nice kind of Mediterranean style building that sits back here. So.
Right.
Well, at least I'm glad the 7-Eleven's going.
Yeah, it's a big help. Okay.
I'm going to give that section kind of a
thumbs down.
Yeah, just because I don't like the buildings. I mean, I know we're stuck. I mean, I'm realistic, but
we can be optimists, right?
Sure. Sure.
It's a master plan.
Sure.
Okay, so we'll keep moving around now down by Eola House, the farmers market area. We've got the playground, the restrooms. How do we feel about some of these
Why did
areas.
people put all the thumbs down in front of that area? What did I miss there?
Well, you didn't. The way this is working is we're only supposed to be seeing the things that we've done here in group one. I don't know why it's picking up everyone's. We'll find out when we get back.
Okay, I
Not supposed to
see.
be working this way.
I wonder what they don't like, because that's all open space, I believe.
This is, so do we like the open space?
Yeah.
Yes.
I like it.
There must be something there. Is there something there?
It's just
Frank?
Washington. It's just Washington Street, so it's still just a brick street.
Yeah,
Right in
that's
front of the
exactly
playground.
what it is, Chris. You're right. The Washington Street actually extends sort of into the park, and I'm sure that's, if you all recall, that segment of street.
Is this where they used to have the houses that we took down?
Yes,
Yes.
Eola house is right there. And then
Okay,
the
so
other
so look at that. Everyone's putting a thumb down on the street, but I thought the street was a way to get you into the couple buildings the park house. You know what I mean?
It's probably the restrooms.
It could be.
Yeah.
The restrooms are up here.
Oh,
We have opinions
okay.
on the restrooms.
No, I like them.
My opinion would be that, you know, if me and my family are there, we would never use them. Just dirty and not safe.
Angel, you like the restrooms, yes?
Yeah, I just think it's nice having some free restrooms that you can use without having to buy something at an expensive restaurant just to use a restroom.
I think we need to have them. The question's going to be is more of the accommodations and the safety components, especially with the kids and the playgrounds in that area, right? So that's, I think, more of the dislike component. So.
Maybe we saw more police officers.
Yeah, I've already put that as one of the comments in an earlier area. How about the farmers market? And
I like
and the
it.
bridge and the little fountain.
I think it's all great. That part's all great.
I mean, it gets utilized pretty well. I mean, and from the city standpoint, it definitely creates a community activity in the area. So I think that's a good thing. So
I think the farmer markets looks cute, but it's extremely expensive. It's even more expensive than Publix. I never buy anything there.
Okay. Max, you or Chris, have you guys kept an eye on how much time we've spent? Because we're supposed to get a notification. But
It's time to move to the next.
yeah, we didn't get a notification, but we should have.
You're
So.
coming up on 30.
Are we really?
You got about 10 minutes left.
Okay, so let's do this. Let me get out of there, and let's go to image preferences. So these are comparable kind of urban parks, and you can either tell me you like, you dislike, just for starters, and then what it is that you like or dislike about it. It could be a particular feature or just the general feeling. How do you all feel about sort of that look?
I like it.
I like it.
Everybody like it?
I like it. This is the original Archie Bobstar.
Anything in particular that you would like to say about it, or?
I like the stone and the white.
Anyone else?
I like that it looks very clean.
Mm-hmm. And the little pavilion features is nice, or whatever that is there.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. Okay. Let's move to the next interactive water feature in Austin, Texas. Like, dislike.
I like it, assuming you can keep the homeless out.
not a big fan of the water features, primarily just because I think it creates more maintenance issues for the parks. But I mean, that's up to the city to understand that element, right? So
we got one that's sort of a nice feature, and we've got, you're just not a fan?
I'm not a fan of it. I understand, especially from the summer heat, but I'm not a fan of the water features.
Well,
I've seen too many issues with them. So,
you know, and maybe the bigger question is, how do you feel about that in Eola Park?
I wouldn't want it in Lake Eola Park. So,
Yeah, I'd be a thumbs down too.
I'm indifferent.
Yeah, I a thumbs down. I think that it, again, it's a lot of maintenance unless you have like a structured program around it, people maintaining it. Like, I've seen it be successful only in areas where there's support.
Okay.
Because I don't know, people are not respectful of it.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, moving along. This is the park in Austin as well. Everybody kind of like that sort of atmosphere,
Beautiful.
or are there things about it you don't like?
yeah,
Love the lighting. It's beautiful.
yeah. So I like the lighting and I like the open space.
It doesn't feel cluttered.
Okay, so we've got.
Yeah, I'd like to see more lighting at Lake Eola Park.
Nice. Oop.
Some areas can be a little dark.
Okay. How about that? Little boardwalk across the water.
Would you?
Any opinions?
I wouldn't want to see a boardwalk. I mean, I like the boardwalk we have now. I wouldn't want to see an additional one going across the lake. It's just not big enough.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we have one right now, but
Yeah, we do. So I like it, but no more.
Are we, Frank, are we talking about adding a boardwalk, like trying to cross the lake or something? Or
We're not. We don't know. It's really it's unknown. But you're
I
welcome
think
to
we
say
have-
that you like this because it goes across, or you don't like it because it goes across.
I would say that we have, I don't know if this comment is what you're asking for, but I'd say we have enough right now. I like it, but no more. We already have a boardwalk. Am I answering you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I think it'd be really cool to have a boardwalk across.
we may have somebody that's maybe conflict on that one, but here, so.
I think it'd be kind of cool to have a walk across. I mean, it just depends on. Yeah, I don't know. I think I like the boardwalk. I think that people being closer to the, like, in the water or in the mix, being able to go from one side of the lake to the other might more efficiently increase
restaurant quality
around both sides. I don't know. I just think it's kind of cool.
That's fine. Good. Where the heck am I? Okay. How about a carousel? Do we like this?
No. No.
That was quick.
No, thank you.
Noisy. It's noisy. I don't know. They get dirty. I just. Oh.
How does everybody else feel about this?
Yeah, that'd be negative. I think we need, I'll take the playground over or something like that.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, that's more maintenance.
So it's noisy, dirty. Rather have a playground. I'll get this right in a minute. How do we like that? Any opinion?
Interesting.
Nice.
Are you allowed to use it, or is it just an artistic feature?
How do you mean?
It looks like a swing, but
it is a swing.
Yeah, they're designed as swings for adults.
Okay. I mean, I like the concept. I like the idea.
But they need to make them uncomfortable for the homeless people.
Sorry. Well, I mean, If you make it uncomfortable for people, people aren't going to use it. That defeats the purpose there. So.
Well, no. I just meant put something in the middle so
Yeah,
that people
an arm.
won't lay down and take a nap there.
So, I mean, you have the same thing sort of right now with the benches, right?
Yeah,
So,
we do that. That's very common. Yeah. Hey guys, are we way over time? I'm not sure.
You got
She's
4
supposed
minutes.
to send it. We're getting close, but she's sent us a note that we're going to exit.
Okay.
That'll be your 1 minute notice.
Okay. Well, we didn't get the 15-minute notice. So how do we feel about this? Nice big open space.
Yeah.
I love the open space idea. I actually like this. Aside from the COVID impact associated, I think this is a great idea. So
let's hope to God that's not a permanent thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Anybody else?
It's nice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Opinions?
I don't like it. Just seems busy.
This is our thing. I don't, I see the value of it from a tourism perspective, but I waffle between the fact that in Orlando, we already have so many tourism type activities, especially in the convention center area and that region, that do we want to keep the downtown area welcome for tourists, but not necessarily like screaming, come take a picture on me.
I get that. Okay. Okay. I think I know
Love
how
the
you all
open
feel.
space.
Yeah. Everybody else feel the same way?
Yeah, but we have that already.
Yep. Well, that's your way of telling us not to get rid of the open space.
Okay.
This is, an example really of just sort of native landscape. Right now, Lake Eola, if you look back here, you've got this little wall. That whole lake is walled. So, is there a thought about maybe kind of planting the edge, at least in some locations, and introducing a little bit more landscape? What do you all think?
Yes.
I kind of like the idea you can walk to the water's edge now. So this would prevent you from doing that, right?
Okay, so that's a negative then.
So I'd say no.
Yeah. I also think that could make it easy for snakes to kind of hide in there. And I don't know.
Okay, so it keeps you from TER. I don't think we're going to get through everything. Again, with the open space.
Anything with open spaces, if you need to get us through other ones, I think everyone likes the open space.
Yeah.
So you could probably just move to ones that are controversial.
Almost there.
How about that? More kind of very formal seating area, shaded. Any opinions?
I just don't know where we'd put something like that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like the idea of having more seating available, but I agree with the other gentleman. It's going to take up a lot of space.
I like the concept. I just don't think we have the room or the capacity.
I agree.
Little fussier garden approach.
Very, very pretty if we had a little spot for extra flowers. And I mean, I love it if there's a small spot to put it in, but let others.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have a couple of areas in where we have alcoves.
Small, yeah.
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Anybody dislike it? Here we go.
Could I say, Frank, real fast with budget cuts, I know a lot of the flower budget was cut from the park, but maybe the comment could be increase the flower budget. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All right. There it is, Frank.
The greenery base. Okay.
We almost got there. We were one shy. All right, gang. We're going to go back. You should all see this as well. And I'll see you in the main room.
You did a
Are you all
good
seeing
job.
this?
Thank you.
Thanks,
You did a
guys.
good job.
Yes,
Thanks.
we'll see you here.
Thanks,
Yes.
Frank.
See you in a second.
All right. All right, so those who went earlier, your introduction is not recorded. If you'd like to reintroduce yourself, you can, but you don't have to. All right. Charles or Chad, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hey there, I'm Chad Cowart, local resident and urban designer in the area.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Charles Appetentueno. I'm also a local downtown resident and also in the planning field.
Thanks, everyone. So again, I'm Sheba West. We have a 30-minute breakout session, and please feel free to give input throughout the session. We have 2 activities for you where it will help facilitate getting your feedback that I'll be taking notes. And what I'm looking for in the first few minutes is there anybody who would like to be the room leader, willing to debrief the group when we go back to the main session? Do I have any volunteers for that? So it's not as hard as it seems. There will be something on the screen that you can speak from for the mapping exercise and for the image preferences. And we don't have to select now, but if we have a volunteer, that'd be great. Any volunteers? All right, well, at the end of the session, I'm hoping someone will volunteer. All right, so let's go to the mapping exercise. Let me know if you can see the screen. Can you all see the screen? Head nod, thumbs up. All right, so what we see here is an existing aerial of Lake Eola Park. Some of the existing features are labeled here. It's a very interactive map. I can zoom in or out. And what I'd like to get is feedback from you, things in the park that you like and that you dislike, and I can add comments. So anyone want to go first?
I'll go first.
Hi, Lauren. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you fine. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First, I love the amphitheater, but it's very formalized and always roped off. I feel like there's always people wanting to sit by there, but it's always so regulated. There's no type of like informal kind of amphitheater or even small kind of classroom-like amphitheater that I think would be very beneficial. Another big thing is the amount of open lawn.
Lauren, before you, I'm gonna just bear with me because it's gonna take me a little bit to put the comments in. But okay, so amphitheater. I'm sorry. So the amphitheater comment it's alike, but you have some comments about it, right? Do you like the amphitheater?
I mean, I feel like it's too closed off.
Okay, so I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to make it a dislike.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That sounds perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to put a dislike. Oops, sorry. So poor seating.
Closed off. Yeah.
Closed off.
Not very, accessible to, for everyday type activities.
Okay, not accessible for everyday activities. All right. Anything else for that point?
I think you got that.
Okay.
So another dislike would be amount of lawn space.
Where would you like me to place the point?
Probably that top right corner over there.
Here?
Yeah, because that's probably the best area for open lawn, and it is always packed with people, especially when you're trying to do things like yoga or other type of more working out type events.
Is that correct? Need more space?
Need more space. Yep.
Anything else? So
no, because I was
larger.
saying, because technically, I don't know if it's the amount of the placement of all of the lawn spaces, or if it's just the amount, because maybe this is post-COVID type of attitude, but even when there was like the large yoga event pre-COVID, I mean, everything was just so packed. There was barely enough like space to really move around.
So can I say hard to socially distance?
Yeah, that's very true too. Yeah.
For events like yoga.
Social distance to make everything in 5 years.
Can we, Carmen, Betty Lee, Charles, Chad, anybody else want to give some comments?
Yes, I'd like to give some comments about the interior. I run one of the largest events that's held at Lake Eola, and I would like to see permanent markings in the park along the sidewalk to define the actual spaces.
Okay, Betty Lee, so is this, would you consider this, so it would be a dislike? Can I use a thumbs down point because it's missing right now?
Yes, that would be okay.
Okay. I'm gonna just put it by the perimeter here. And so provide permanent markers?
Yes.
Provide
For all the shows. Use.
of distances? Is that,
yeah, booth placement. Generally, everybody uses the 10 by 10, and I think interior, we've marked the spaces 15 feet. So each artist gets 15 feet. So basically every 15 feet, there would be some small marker on the sidewalk itself defining the booths.
I would also say just as a signage, I don't know if this is wayfinding and signage, permanent kind of directional element could be a lot better on site, just directing you to amphitheater, to every single one of the program spaces that are on this park.
okay, so I said add more wayfinding and signage to all existing program elements.
Perfect.
Is that good? All right, I'm gonna hit save. All right, any other comments?
I mean, a dislike is point of connections. The access across, I actually see a bunch of dislike arrows going to that top corner, top central area.
Right here?
Yeah, I cross that street. I mean, I visit the park almost daily. So I'm coming in from all directions, just depending on where I am that day. But I would say there needs to be better connectivity across the streets in a lot of different areas, especially along that top road.
So poor crossings, we better crosswalks needed.
And
What else?
entrances. I mean, you know, when we have on the left side and on the southern areas, they're kind of more grand entrance type features. Like you really know that you're arriving to the park. You don't really get a sense of arrival when you're in that northern area as much.
Need better sense of arrival. Oops. Okay.
And say, I'll keep going. I like the dining and bar area that we've got going on too.
Lauren, I'm going to just say, anyone else, Lauren's on a roll, but if you have comments, just stick your hand up or get my attention. Carmen, Lauren, can we give Carmen a minute, please? Go ahead,
Sure.
Carmen.
So I would just add any type of connection with the water. So I see a lot of thumbs up around the area with whether they are the docks or the piers. I would just say to promote that, maybe add more areas of pause near the water.
By the swan boats.
Sure.
So it's a like and better connection to the water.
Mm-hmm.
What were you saying, Lauren? Was there? I mean, Carmen, was there something more specific? about connecting to the water?
Maybe more areas to pause, whether they're the piers or the docks that exist there today, but more quantities of them. And maybe a note about cleaning the water as well, because I think that's a concern as well.
So water quality improvement.
Right.
Okay.
One of the other concerns or suggestions I have is I'd like to see more secure power and water spigots closer to the streets for events to use, so we don't have to run power cords as such.
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna change that to a dislike.
So more secure power and water access along Robinson and
like exists on Washington.
Provide more secure electric or power
boxes
and
water boxes.
Along Robinson.
Mainly along Robinson. I believe there are some installed on Washington already.
Okay. I have the point, but they'll see the data. So along Robinson, any other locations?
Maybe along Central.
Maybe near the amphitheater.
And near the amphitheater. Just the roads that surround the park, so that when we set up a large event in the streets, we don't have to run the electric cords, 100 feet and cover them.
So I'm going to say, think about power and water for staging events proximate to roads, too many cords used today.
Yes, and I believe all the events probably use water and electricity, so it would be good for all the events. I'm not speaking just for Fiesta. But
Charles, I'm sorry, go ahead. Betty Lee?
Yeah, that's okay.
Charles or Chad, do you have any comments?
I think somebody mentioned the water quality. I just noticed when I walked past the sort of, I guess they call it the inlet over there on the southeast corner. I normally, detect a foul odor, so I don't know if it's just the stagnancy of the water.
Can you see my cursor?
More to the right.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Lauren or Carmen may have mentioned that, but just wanted to echo it in case you didn't get that in your notes there.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the second activity, but let me get that. A foul odor is coming off the water. Improve water quality. Anything else?
No, we can move on.
Okay. And we'll go into the visual preference, but you can submit even further comments on the website, and even with the survey, there's more open character portions to submit comments. So let me share this. Okay. All right. So in this activity, you'll see a series of images, and you can look at them. And these are comparable parks throughout the country in urban areas. There is a thumbs up, thumbs down. If there's something generally you like about it or specifically you like about it, we can put the thumbs up, and I can write some notes there. And if there's something you dislike about the image generally or specifically, I could just write these notes down. And so whoever is the room leader when we do the debrief these images and the notes from our breakout session will be available for you to share the thoughts. So here's the first image from Piedmont Park. Anyone have any likes or dislikes?
I have a dislike.
Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
It seems very harsh, a lot of hardscape.
Okay, I may have to do it as a non-presentation to.
Or I would say bulky too, this column type.
I agree with Lauren.
Okay, so, oops, too much hardscape.
Yes.
And bulky, I guess I would say.
What was that word, Lauren?
Bulky.
Too bulky.
The columns are, yeah, too.
Columns.
Proportions are out of place.
Look too bulky.
I'll add a
Pay
positive
attention to detail. Attention to hardscape details. So I'm gonna put a thumbs down in the column. Okay. Carmen?
I'll add a positive note, just the, as what it appears to be the selection of landscaping textures, so the variety of plantings.
Likes the variety of textures of landscape material. Okay, we have several images. Do you mind if we move to the next one? This is a splash pad in Metro Park in Austin. Any comments? Is it thumbs up? 2 thumbs up?
I like that. I mean, it looks very active and lively.
Sounds cool.
Of course, I think I just got rid of my notes. Sorry, guys. Looks active and lively. What else? Anything else?
I would just add that there could be more shading areas if there's something similar to this, whether it's the near the benches as parents wait.
Okay. More shade, especially where parents wait. Okay. Any reactions to this image? And you don't have to. I can move on to the next image.
I really like how that is bringing the people more onto the water. I do feel like you feel very separate at times around most of Lake Eola from the actual water edge.
The boardwalk connects people to the water. Whoops. And what did you say? Currently, there's not as much connection.
Yeah, I feel like you were not like going onto the water as much. We're always very adjacent to it. We can go up and access it with all the lawn space, but it's not, besides a few locations, maybe just really one, there's not many places where you're really getting into the water, and the water's the highlight of the area.
So think about providing significant access to the water instead of a few locations. Is that good? Okay, so I'm going to give it a thumbs up. All right. We did get a few comments about a carousel. Do you all have any reactions? Betty Lee, Charles, Sadie?
Would it be free or would it cost?
That's up to you. So if you want it to be free, we can put that note in. Do you like it? First of all, like, dislike?
I mean, it's
what's the
Orlando,
general?
but I feel like it's very Disney.
It's very Disney.
It is kind of carnival-like, where the park is to come and relax, enjoy nature.
Okay.
I do really like the idea of some sort of play activity of this nature. I think there's a couple different options though, so whichever one it might be.
Okay. Play activity is encouraged, but this may be too Disney-like.
Maybe spark the conversation of kind of what the character of this park, what we want it to be like or what it has been.
Okay, consider the character of the park. Betty Lee, what were your words? Relaxing?
Yes, I think the people come to the park to relax and enjoy nature.
Quiet spaces?
Yes. I don't even know where you would put something that large.
Okay. Retreat. This may be too large of an item as a program element. Okay. So is it overall thumbs down? Do you agree?
Oh.
Huh?
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. What about this image?
Love it.
All right.
And I love it too. I'm with her that, it's another space to relax in.
Yeah, and it also provides a little bit more activity and opportunity for a variety of people.
Oop, not acidity, activity. What was there another word? Love it, provides more activity areas.
That's good.
Good.
Well, we were talking earlier about the amphitheater seats being roped off and not having that many areas to sit in and just relax, like a passive space. This would be good for it. A good place to sit and relax and enjoy the fountain, people watching.
Park in Boston is one of my favorite urban parks.
Yes.
All right. What about this image?
I say yes. I like green space and community activities.
Oops, sorry guys. Love it. Love community activities.
Yes.
Did you say in green space?
Or on the lawn.
Okay. Anything else?
Big thumbs up for this one, I would say.
Okay.
I was going to actually talk about this as an example of something that Lake Eola definitely would be a home run for. Just like the idea of it being sort of the front yard of Orlando would be perfect with a backdrop that you can get on the east side towards Eola Drive. Just some sort of sign signifying Orlando would be a huge
And this is more than a sign. This can be, it can be a sign. This can also be considered sculpture or artwork. But
yeah.
there was a word, right now that the fountain is, whenever somebody's doing an event in Orlando, they usually, if it's ESPN or whoever, they usually focus on the fountain in the park. So we could have more than one.
Any kind of art or elements that could be branded throughout the park. I think this brings back, Carmen's point as well, really unifying the place. Right now, it does seem that there's a lot of activity. There's a lot of space between each one of the activities. Having these kind of elements that could be spread out throughout the park. And really, I think scale is hugely important for this park, because there are a lot of art installations. There are a lot of things around Lake Eola, but making sure they're really identifiable throughout the place is key.
Something that helps identify the overall community, right?
Yeah,
perfect.
Like the bean in Chicago does.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
And for people to take Instagram photos.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's, yeah. Instagram moment. I probably didn't spell that right. But all right. What about this?
Love it.
Oh wait, I skipped one. Sorry.
Love that too.
Anything in particular about it that you love?
So one difference between this image and especially the open lawn with all the people watching the screen, I think they're both great multi-purpose open spaces, but I do like that this is showing shade. I think being able to have those open spaces that will allow for massive amounts of people, but also can be broken up into smaller segments and have some of these more shaded areas is very important.
Okay. Okay, I think that's great. Okay, so then the next image. What is coming to mind in this image?
I like the walkway, and as we were discussing earlier, that the plants go into the lake rather than it stops, and then there's a wall, a retaining wall.
Planting by water's edge.
Yes.
Instead
I love it.
of the hard wall. Yeah, and it looks pretty native too.
Yes.
It feels like an escape from the city, like you kind of got out of that and into more nature. Currently, Lake Eola is very manicured, very formal. It makes it easily accessible, but we don't have at least one area carved out that allows for that.
Okay, so this is the end of our session. Can I pick someone if you don't want to volunteer? Can I pick Lauren?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so the first debrief will be the map portion, and then the second debrief will be these visual preferences, okay? There's nothing to worry about. We'll give you the segue of when you can share. So everyone can leave the break room now.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi. So I see we have a few people in here. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. So welcome to your breakout room. As Frank said, we'll be doing a handful of activities today inside the breakout room. I think we have a few people here. So once we come out of the breakout room, we'll be doing a quick debrief. So it'd be great if somebody would volunteer to be kind of our leader in that and really share what we come away with. If anybody wants to volunteer. Chris, Greg, Clarice, Dennis, who else is here?
Nobody wants to volunteer.
I could help out.
I appreciate that, Chris. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Pleasure.
So today we'll be doing 2 activities. We'll be doing a park mapping activity and looking at some image preferences. So in the park mapping activity, we have this great map of Lake Eola Park. And basically what we want to look around in is see what are some of your favorite parts of the park? What parts do you think need some help? So we can go around it. Where do you usually come in? Who wants to start?
Anybody have a preference? If not, I'd just recommend maybe coming in, like if you're walking in from the Wall Street area there at the Plaza Amphitheater.
Mm-hmm.
Do we like the amphitheater?
I think the amphitheater is always a good landmarker for knowing you've arrived sort of at the park, especially because you have sort of the plaza next to it as you come down Washington.
Mm-hmm.
So I always think that's like a good wayfinding sort of orientation point, welcome point. And then I think a lot around like the farmers market on Sundays and sort of around World of Beer, like that corner is a good sort of gateway point as well that just sort of naturally happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree with both of those. Regarding the amphitheater, I think that there is an opportunity to make it more of an icon. Even further, we have some designs around how we could actually power this entire park with solar and put a awning or shade structure over those seats at the amphitheater that would actually have solar panels on them and be able to produce electricity and shade individuals under them. I still think that's a really good idea for this park.
Fantastic.
Yeah, there's something about like the seating around the amphitheater. It always just feels really, really empty. Probably because there's so many seats, but I mean, when we use the amphitheater, it's full. So it's not like we need less seats, but I think that there's an opportunity to improve the seating arrangement area because it's personally for me, I run around there. So that's most of my interaction with the park is normally probably 5 to 7 p.m. or around lunchtime. And so you can sort of always see runners sort of dodging the seating area, whether they go up the hill or around the hill, sort of at the top of it.
Yeah, to that point, it'd be interesting to see how that space could be flexible and like it could be flex use. So it doesn't always have to just be seating, but maybe there's a way that, seating could be activated in times of events throughout the year. And other times it's more of an open space, or we can think through other uses for it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. I think sometimes that space it's very low use whenever there's not actually an event going on because it is sort of a big amount here of just things, and then the circulation is not always very clear going around here.
Yeah, it kind of becomes a pinch point on the corners, so it's rough. This is probably way too specific right now, but I'd almost maybe be interested in seeing sort of steps where the seats are, something like that, sort of like Red Rocks, because a lot of people exercise around there and run up and down the stairs, and I don't know, maybe there's, because I think that it's a big activation is just exercising around the park. And so maybe providing steps to do those kinds of exercises, maybe just because, I mean, like outdoor fitness equipment is kind of done and it's not as flexible, and sometimes it can kind of be an eyesore, but it's nice to have. So maybe steps around there could be a way to work with it a little better.
I think that's a great idea. So when you come into the park, what are you usually doing when you go into the park, and where are you usually heading towards?
So I usually come in the park from the north side because I live in Lake Eola Heights. So like by the day building. So kind of like right.
To the right.
Yeah.
Northeast corner. Yeah.
Right here is where I usually enter, and I usually go straight to the farmer's market. So, but it's kind of hard to try to cross the street from Robinson. It's like Frogger dodging cars. So
it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And we know that road is getting a nice improvement to it here pretty soon. So maybe there's a way for us to include pedestrian and bike intersections there.
I think another thing to think about is, you know, as we look towards whatever changes are going to happen along Robinson, are there opportunities for there to be like gateway entrances from that northern side so that the space can also feel welcoming as people come in? And if so, you know, where do you think would be a good place to place something like that?
Well, I think if they're going through with that, I think on Broadway is where they're going to, like, I think they're trying to make this like a big grand opening, or at least a big crosswalk.
That's correct, Dennis. You're right.
So I guess that would naturally make it the walkway. Although I feel like, well, I guess it has that dock there, so it's somewhat nice. I feel like it's kind of a small area though, space-wise.
Yeah, I mean, but that is an opportunity if, you know, if we look at it from a perspective of expanding to not just this intersection, but looking into what this whole thing can become if that thought goes away and becomes something else, or if there's something here.
Yeah, I mean, I personally wish there was a bit more. I feel like the park is too much covered by water. And like this north area right here is pretty tight. It's pretty much a walkway, and that's all it. I never see people on the grass here, or it's very rare. Versus, versus on the by the Battle of the Bulge, there's lots of people there always hanging out and picnics and stuff.
Yeah, like along Robinson, there's like a drinking fountain, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone use it. Just because it's just not a conducive space at the moment. I mean, it's nice because it's oriented towards more pedestrians and people biking along Robinson to sort of go further distances. But I personally, for me, I don't typically see people utilizing it.
Yeah, I think something that we have found throughout our analysis process is that Lake Eola Park essentially becomes something like a linear park wrapped around a lake, because it is in many areas very narrow, so that you're really experiencing a very narrow park. And then, you know, there are some places where it opens up and you're able to have some activities, but for a lot of the experience, you're mainly just walking around the water's edge in a very narrow space. So speaking to go ahead.
Just real quick, I bring my daughter to the playground often, and so I think that's an important amenity that the park offers to families. I think it could be expanded upon in terms of, you know, what's offered there at the playground, and there are some kind of creative and more passive type of playgrounds for kids. But overall, having a playground, a sizable playground at the park, I think is an attractor for families to come to the park, and is often activated during, you know, the Sunday market and other times of the week.
Yeah, that's fantastic. How do you feel about this this road here, Washington Street, and how that interacts with the playground and the farmers market in this whole area?
Seems really underutilized and not too sure. I mean, I know that's bollard normally for, you know, regular traffic
Mm-hmm.
And really it is the connection over to the Eola house. So I know that there kind of potentially needs to be a road over that way, but yeah, I do think it could be more inviting for pedestrians. Somehow.
Yeah, that road's mostly used, I think, during the farmers market. Some vendors come in there with their trucks and to load, and there is some stands there, but I don't know. It might be nice to have it green space, but
Yeah, even as the farmer's market, it always ends up feeling really, really tight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to just navigate around, and it's probably my least favorite part of the farmer's market, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Great vendors, but
yeah, no,
just
it's
not super
definitely
conducive.
it's a bit of a strange space, especially when you think about how it operates as a connection between Thornton Park and the park, and how it just kind of dead ends into nothingness. So it's an awkward space, to be sure. Clarice, as a runner, what are some things that you have found to be important to you in the park?
So not during COVID, the drinking fountains. The drinking fountains are probably my favorite part of the park. Just to be completely honest, like I may be honestly the only person. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm not the only person that uses them, because normally someone from the playground is using the drinking fountains. The one over by Relax is definitely utilized less, but I think the restrooms are used more. So the restrooms are definitely used at the park. But yeah, for me, I really love the drinking fountains. I like sort of the social instigation that all the different animals create between dogs, swans, geese, baby birds, etc. And then for me, it's just the convenience, because I do work downtown, so it holds me it holds me accountable after work to just go get your run, go be done.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I know.
Just out of curiosity, is there any way that we're lacking in that regards, Clarice?
So I think there would be an opportunity to sort of mark distances or something, if there was sort of like from here to the next point is a quarter mile, or because all the time people come to me and they're like, oh, how long is the lake? I'm like, I don't really know. Because I start counting my time and my distance from my office, and then I'm like, I end up somewhere around this much by the time I'm done. But I think that would be nice to do, because I have friends that live downtown as well, and they sort of do the same game of trying to approximate and guess how far they've gone. So, and there's a lot of lunch walkers too. I think it would benefit them as well.
That's a great point, actually.
For me, when I run, I find that lower area, yeah, right there, kind of tight sometimes, because that's where a lot of people congregate. So I'm always like dodging people. I usually run around the lake for a start of my run, but I usually leave the park because I go like 3 miles a day. So I usually do the urban trail, but I usually start, and I'm always dodging people there. So it'd be nice if there was like at least in the other parts of like in the northern area, it's really nice because there's not many people. But the rest of the space, there's enough, it's wide enough, there's enough green space that I can jump off onto green space and dodge people. But by that little, I guess it's not really a bridge, it's almost like a dock in the southern part there. It's
sure,
kind of tight. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a tight space.
Any other thoughts regarding that area? It's kind of an interesting little spot with the step ups to the benches and all that. It's kind of tiered, so to speak. Any other thoughts on that area?
It's interesting because that's probably the most heavily occupied area because of the steps, because so many people sit on them or just hang out, or like coming out of Publix, they need to adjust their bags or something, so they'll rest them there for a minute. So I would honestly, yeah, that's probably between there and on this view, over towards like the restrooms and playground, there's kind of a spot there. And I think it's just the activity from the birds on that sort of plaza and parents around the play. Around there feels like one of the busier spots too. And I think it's because they're all sitting on that very low wall. So it creates more spots where like the benches are nice, but they're spaced pretty far apart, and you just sort of get one or two people on each of them. And it's like, since there's distance, the people aren't interacting with each other. So they're nice, but depending on what you want out of the park, how much activity you want.
I think it could be helpful to activate public Wi-Fi in the park, throughout the park space. I think that'll be another attractor towards people, and potentially, electronic charging stations. They have some really neat solar powered phone chargers, little areas that you can have throughout the park where people can, do opportunity charges very quickly, and at the same time be able to have some public Wi-Fi connectivity.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So unfortunately, we have to move on to the image preference. Time flies. So let's move on to that, and we can keep on talking about some of this later if we have some more time. So moving on to the image preference, what we have is a handful of images. I just want to kind of get a feel of how we feel about these images, what we like, what we don't like about them. So let's hop to it. So this first image is an image from Piedmont Park in Atlanta. It has a walkway and this sort of pagoda, and it's a pretty traditional style to it. So what do we think about this?
I like the white walkways. I'm not a fan of the traditional wall railings. So I kind of like Eola's, where it just naturally blends into the lake. But
Same.
I have, this is sort of out there, but I don't like the metal roof on the on their pagoda gazebo thing. It just doesn't feel like a natural material to pick for this entire setting. It's kind of weird.
Actually, I think that's a really great point, though. The fact that it is, it does not feel natural. That's a really great observation.
Yeah, because I mean, Lake Eola is so fascinating because, so I'm not from the area. I'm from Cleveland originally. And so moving here, I was like, wait, oh, that's a lot of water. Oh, this is like a big park around. This is a big deal. And everyone was like, oh yeah, it was a sinkhole and this and that. And just so like learning all these different sort of fun facts about it is really cool. So sort of that organic, just the naturalness of it, how it just sort of kept forming over time is really great and nice. Like it naturally is very appealing to the eye, is what I'm trying to say.
Some cool fun factoids throughout the park could be pretty neat.
Yeah, like there's 7 types of swans that live there, and there's
lots of cool facts about Lake Eola Park for sure. But just some factoids and informational signs. I like the flowering plants, things that bring color and life to the park.
All right, let's move to the next image. So here we have a splash pad in Austin. How do we feel about splash pads at Lake Eola?
I'm not a fan, but I mean, I'm sure my niece and nephew would love it, but to me, this looks too much like a concrete jungle.
Well, splash pad or not, I think, having an activated space for kids is absolutely critical in the park.
Beyond the playground that's currently there, beyond the footprint of that playground.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there could be some other creative, splash pads are a popular, my daughter loves them, but I have to think a little bit more about whether it fits in Lake Eola Park.
Yeah, I think one of the most used areas for kids that I see all the time is the Muse of Discovery statue. by the amphitheater, and I think that's kind of like a passive space that is not the playground, and yet you always have kids kind of running up and down in that thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, so here we have a big lawn with some nighttime use. It's very urban, very clean.
I think
What do
it's
we think?
important that we have passive park space. You know, too often we're focused on activating these parks and putting, you know, a lot of amenities for them, but we don't have a lot of just passive green space within our city. And it's really critical for quality of life, for mental health, you know, overall environment, et cetera. So, you know, the gauge is, can you just pop a picnic somewhere, right? You can't do that in a ball field. We can't do that on basketball courts. We can't do that in the playground. We need places to just pop open a picnic, right? And so I think that's what I like about this particular image.
I really like the different layers of lighting, because I mean, the park is lit, but at the same time, it's all sort of at a very, I don't know how tall the street lights are, but they're, I don't know, 15 feet, something like that. They're all very high in comparison to like where we occupy the park, if that makes sense. And so there's less of an implied sense of security because we know that like certain things are done throughout the city to sort of regulate the area when it's dark. However, making people feel okay with sort of the public realm lighting instead of just the overhead lighting. And this picture, I think, does that by making lower levels, and maybe it's just the time of day it was shot as well. But
No, I echo the same. I do like the lights that are going along the walkway. That's nice.
Next image. In this next image, we have kind of a boardwalk around the edge of the water. You know, much of the edge of the water currently is that hard wall. So this is kind of a different look into how you can engage with the water.
I'm a big fan of that. I'd like to see more water engagement with the lake. And at the same time, that gives us the additional pedestrian routes that some of the more active folks are looking for.
Any other thoughts on this, please? Sorry, go ahead.
I do like the walkway. I just wish I've seen walkways where they also have green space. So it's not just like it's like a bridge, but on the edge, they put like either like a hanging plots or something like that. I think
to soften it up.
Yeah.
Basically.
I think in this particular picture, it just feels very much like a path and not a destination or a point. So it's just a little bit harder to want to be there. I mean, it looks like a nice place to use to get somewhere, but it doesn't really feel like a place to go, if that makes sense. And so I think that's part of the issue with how Lake Eola has such a narrow band all the way around, where you look at where people are actually occupying, it's because there's destinations.
Next picture, we have a carousel.
No, I'm not a fan. We have Disney 30 minutes away.
I do like signature play elements, but it shouldn't be overdone. I like what Chris was saying about building on some other ideas to expand with some other play opportunities in the area that's already there. Something like a big mechanical carousel just really doesn't feel like Lake Eola.
I'd agree.
Yeah, I think maybe this is an opportunity to bring art, just because as a city we focus so much on public art, and like Andrea had mentioned with the statue that all the kids play on, I mean, that's essentially that idea, and I think that's something that we do really strongly here, and that could be an opportunity.
And just a heads up to everyone, we have 5 minutes left, Andrea, okay?
Okay.
Great, awesome.
We'll go through whichever many we get through. Okay, so how about these swinging benches, Travis? How do we feel about this?
I like the engagement. I think there's an opportunity to contrast like hard and soft materials. So like this particular picture feels too hard for us, but at the same time of what it's of, I think is a good opportunity.
Yeah, if this was like if the trellis was wood, I think I'd be more open to it. But I do like that this would bring in shade. So.
And I was EV on that trellis.
I love the idea of shade. My concern about trellises like these is that it's kind of a false shade. It's like, okay, you think you're going to get cool under that, but you're not. So shade is absolutely crucial. And, you know, one of the things that I really love about the park is all the massive, wonderful, big oak trees. That area that we were talking about earlier where it's congested and a lot of people are sitting there all the time, that's a spot where there's nice, comfortable pedestrian seating and big, massive oak trees. But I agree, in other locations, manufactured shade, trellises, all hugely important.
Mm-hmm. Great. So next up we have
and also on the trellis, regarding my comment about solar photovoltaics, there are bifacial solar panels that are basically glass on glass. So they allow for sunlight to actually seep through them. They actually pick up sunlight on the bottom end of them, hence bifacial. And so I think you could do a really neat, sleek design that also keeps in the natural element. It could be wood trellises with bifacial PV on it. I've seen that before.
I like that.
No, that's a great idea. Okay, so we have a movie night at a park.
I love it.
I'd say for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
How do we currently, I've never made it to a movieola, but how do we currently do the movieolas? Because I always try to picture it in my head and I have a hard time trying to figure out where we'd even sort of set up a screen.
They usually set one by the farmer's market and it kind of looks just like this picture. People bring in picnic blankets or the foldaway chairs, but it's been great. And some of that, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just north of that, it's that passive park area just north of the actual farmer's market kind of circle there.
Okay. Because I always pictured it like at the amphitheater and I was like, how would you?
Yeah, they do
it
those there as well, actually, but it's more, I think our holiday movies are usually done at the amphitheater, so. Yeah.
Okay, because then it's like maybe we could sort of turn to that and how people turn out for that.
Mm-hmm. So another thing is just a big iconic piece of art that really kind of represents what the city's about. What do we think about something kind of big?
I like our fountain.
Yeah, I think the fountain is sort of our natural branding for most things. I think what this image is really doing is doing more of a branding thing to take a photo op with. And I've seen them do, or I've seen these be implemented and make a lot of progress and bring a lot of people. So overall, I think it's a good idea, but it's hard because the fountain already sort of does this for us.
No,
So
I
it's
think
kind of
it
tough.
has two different purposes though. Like you can't take a photo with the fountain per se.
It's true. Yeah, you're right.
This is where people would come and they activate and they take a photo and they replace the eye and city with themselves type of thing. And like people can, so I think in Orlando, you know, big Orlando brand, great. This is our iconic park in Orlando. It needs to, I think we need to promote that.
Great. Okay. Then we have some yoga in the park.
Yep, I love that too. Keep that.
These are all great activities that activate those parks, bring people to the parks. I see that we're going to be running out of time here shortly, so I did want to mention that Mercedes, the work that you all did last holiday season with obviously the sculptures that were lit up, I think is critical and probably something we want to continue to do on an annual basis.
Yes.
So those types of activations, whether it's temporary or permanent, awesome.
I appreciate that, Chris. Yeah, definitely. We are hoping to continue that, and if anything, grow it. This year, unfortunately, we won't be able to maybe do as much as we would have liked, But I definitely thank you so much, and keep that in mind. We will keep it in mind.
All right, everybody, I think it looks like we're closing out of our breakout rooms. So if you hit the leave breakout rooms button, we'll go back into the main session.
Record the session, please.
Yep. I just started the recording, and we also, part of this session when we report back to the group is going to be getting table leader selected. So when we go back in, you'll be able to help kind of summarize some of the comments. So is there anyone that might want to volunteer to just take a few minutes when we get back into the group? Because really, this really should be about you guys, your input, you kind of saying what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see. It really should not be us kind of reporting that back. So can one of you guys volunteer to maybe just kind of hit the bullet points when we get back into the room? Anyone? Don't make me pick someone. How about Ashley? Can you guys hear me? Krisha?
Hey, this is Krisha. Yeah, I was gonna say I can volunteer.
Yeah, I mean, you
You're,
can do it, and I'm gonna be there with you too. So if you need any support,
yeah, no problem.
time, then we can do that.
Okay.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna share my screen. And actually keep this kind of minimized. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
I'm gonna keep this stretched out so I can. So the way we're gonna go through this is we've got the map. I can zoom in and out. I can go anywhere on the map you would like. I'm gonna take these icons and place them around the park, and then we have the ability, once we place these icons, to add a comment that goes with it. So obviously the green thumbs up will be placed on things that you like or generally positive, and then things that you might not like or dislike. You can place icons for those as well. So we can just go around the room. Anybody want to start with some comments on the plan, things in particular they like or don't like, and then we can just go from there. And let me know if you want to zoom in. I have the ability to kind of move around the plan, and we can get into a fair amount of detail. So if there are things in the plan that you want to see more closely, I can do that too.
This is based off of the current structure, right?
Yeah, so this is existing conditions. This is just to get a feel for, your input on kind of what's there today.
Got it.
And we can add comments about things you'd like to see as well.
Okay, well, since I'm already talking, I can go first to kick it off. Are you trying to get each of our individual opinions?
Yes, I mean, we can either go down
Okay.
the line, or everybody can just try to chime in. And it's small enough,
Okay.
that's fine.
Cool. Do it. Yeah, well, I guess we'll just start. You want to start at the amphitheater and work our way around?
Sure.
Yeah. I'll turn my camera on.
Yeah, and we can just pan around the park if you like. So oops. So this is, cancel. I think I placed that in early. So what's your thoughts on the amphitheater?
I mean, it's great when there's, when there's a big event going on and there's, I've seen, I think it was the Nutcracker performance there, for like a Christmas, the holiday event. And then I know when you do the Pride Parade, there's, fun things happening up at the stage. But I mean, otherwise, when it's just like a general day walking around the park, it's kind of like a dead zone where there's not really anything else to do there. So I don't really know. Not that I'm sure how to make that better, but I guess it does serve the purpose of extra seating, on a general day when you're walking around the park. If you just want to sit somewhere, it's nice that you have all that seating available as well. And I guess if you work downtown, you wanted to just walk down to the park and eat your lunch there, it's nice to have a place to sit.
Mm-hmm. So maybe a way to kind of expand some of the programming for that. Part of the issue there is just trying to make sure the facility can accommodate a wide range of events.
Mm-hmm.
So what about the rest of the park? Things you like in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I like all the space, you know, when they do the farmers market on Sunday. That's something I really enjoy doing. That's something I like to bring people to. You know, when you have friends in town, that's like a fun thing to do on the weekend is take them to the farmers market. So any way to, you know, enhance that would be great.
Yeah, do you feel like you have enough room with that? Do you think that, you know, more space for that would be better?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, more space. Yeah, because it is kind of broken up the way, you know, I could see how some people would miss certain vendors. And from the vendor perspective, I could see how you could be placed in kind of a low traffic area. That wouldn't be ideal. So some kind of way to make that flow, improve the flow a little bit better would be nice.
Okay, great. What else? What's your feeling about the promenade or the walkway around the lake? There's been a lot of conversation about that, so I'm kind of curious about input on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything negative to say about the walkway around. I guess in some locations, like you feel like you're kind of far from the lake, and like the lake is the focal point. You know, you really want, it's nice to have that breeze and you feel connected to the lake itself. So, you know, where the sidewalk goes really far, especially that bottom right corner, you know, where you're really far from the lake, you kind of feel removed from it. So it would be nice to have, you know, almost like a riverfront. Like in Chicago, you can walk around the whole riverfront where you're close to the water. Riding a bike around it would be fun. If there was like maybe like a bike lane that was, you know, you could do a tight loop on your bike right around the lake. That would be cool, where you don't feel like you're going to knock over people walking their dog. Would be nice.
Right. Yeah, unfortunately, they don't allow bikes in the park, but I think, you know, with the amount of pressure we get on the park, I think expanding that walkway, maybe making sure that we stay engaged with the water's edge would be great. Yeah. What about others? Kimberly, Kyla, any thoughts?
This is Kim Holdridge. Yeah, I like the promenade. There, you know, if there were a few more park benches, that would be helpful. But I understand that gets complicated for all kinds of reasons. And then the band shell, I love. We don't see it utilized enough. You know, you would think that a city that's up and coming like Orlando would have maybe a 4th of July celebration, which could be, you know, something like the, if there's an all-county youth band or the youth symphony or Orlando Philharmonic or some kind of city-sponsored Parks and Recreations event, or maybe even another group wanting to sponsor some kind of event for a holiday celebration, that, you know, we would see that used more. It's just something that has always bothered me, because every time I'm there, and I'm there quite a lot now, I live very close to the park, that there's just not enough going on at that band shell. The promenade in general, again, you know, a few more park benches would be great. I like the opportunity to look at some of the public art that's in the area. What else am I looking at here? I'm imagining myself walking around the park, and what is it that I see?
Let me zoom in a little bit for you. Maybe that will help. And let me know if you want me to stop.
You know, you're doing good. You're a good driver.
A lot of programming on the east side of the park. Do you guys spend much time over here?
Well, when I am over there, it's usually again around a holiday celebration.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like when I've been with a group who's wanted to secure the location for an event around, say, a Labor Day or pick anything, I struggle with, is the grass resting there during that period?
Mm-hmm.
There's all kinds of other things that the general public probably doesn't think about, but that I worry about. I know there's a lot of events that have been held at the International Plaza part of the park. I used to use it regularly with a group that I'm affiliated with for Labor Day. That I don't think people actually understand that they can rent those kind of, that area.
Mm-hmm.
And then the part that was up in that corner up by the Battle of the Bulge Memorial.
Mm-hmm.
Is that seating that used to be there? Is that gone? I don't even know anymore.
The little seating area is right here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I love those outdoor spaces, and I specifically pay attention to the public art that's in the area.
Okay. What else? Do you guys have any experience with the playground on this side of the park?
I can comment to that. That's the primary reason that I go there.
Okay.
I love that playground. I think it's really great equipment. It's always packed, or it was pre-COVID. It's been a while since I've gone, but it's very dirty. It is just trash everywhere. And I know it's other parents, and I try to clean up after them too, but if there was, it just makes me sad to see it trashed that way. And the facilities, the restrooms next door are not often clean either. But at least there are bathrooms, because not all the city parks have them.
Yeah, I think part of that is, part of it's just the amount of pressure, and like Frank commented on the park in general, as we urbanize and there's more and more pressure on the park, it kind of puts pressure on everything. You can see that with the playground.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things we want to try to address is just, make sure it's right size, making sure that it can grow as Orlando grows. Maybe there's need for two. I don't know. There could be a lot of things we could talk about.
We definitely wait for our turn on the swings more often than not.
Yeah. I lived in Eola Heights, and I had 4 kids, and I remember that. Even then, when it wasn't as big as it is now, it was often crowded.
But it is nice equipment and everything. But I second what everyone's saying on the amphitheater. I think it's very depressing to walk past it as often as we do with nothing going on, and just the seats are generally roped off. I understand, but it's almost offensive. It's like you can't use the space.
Yeah. Where do you see the seats roped off?
In front of the amphitheater.
Oh, in front of the amphitheater. Okay.
When there's not events going on. I don't know if that's all the time, but usually when I walk by, I see that there's no seating, even though all the seats are there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably, trying to deal with people just being there. You maybe shouldn't be in the park when there's not a program going on. But I mean, some people might like to use that space. So
I love the Muse next door and the little garden space over there. I think that's in a really nice area.
This space, is that what you?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of the schools get a lot of use out of that. Tara, did you happen to keep track of where we are on time?
I'm sorry, I was answering some emails from some folks who aren't making it to the meeting. I apologize.
It's all right. I didn't start my timer, but I don't know that I've seen a warning just yet.
I think we're good until we get a warning.
Okay. We've got someone kind of keeping track in the overall session.
One of my last comments is not necessarily related to the park itself, but with the Robinson Street project that they're going to be working on, I'm really excited about that as because no bikes are allowed around Lake Eola, and there's supposed to be a a bike lane or a shared use path along Robinson Street, I think that that will be a really nice addition to that area.
So I'm going to present that as a dislike, but that you're excited about the bike facilities. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Oops.
That it's currently lacking, but there's opportunity with this new project.
Yeah, I mean, again, just sharing thoughts. When I lived in Eola Heights, crossing this road, with a wagon full of kids was always a challenge, So I think re-envisioning that and getting, thinking about neighborhood residents, no matter what side, but particularly Robinson would be a good thing. Oops. One thing that's not apparent on this, but I'm curious about your input on this, is just what do you think about the lake edge itself? Just, where the water edge engages the water with, seeing it, touching it, vegetation, wildlife. Any thoughts on that? I mean, we often tend to think about the individual kind of structured program elements, but that's something that would be interesting to get your perspective on. Because, for instance, we've talked about potentially maybe doing some revegetation at that edge.
Is there still talk of a beachfront type thing going on there?
Well, I haven't heard that, no.
Okay.
But now, there's a little segmental wall that goes around the periphery. And I think, we want to maybe have a chance to re-envision that. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, more vegetation is always great, more different types of plants to kind of add some variety. Yeah, that would definitely be nice. Something else I was thinking of, I know some parks have, I'm not sure if Lake Eola has it. Is there any of those, some parks will have like workout equipment, kind of like stationary things where you can do little, kind of like an exercise path while you're walking around the lake, and there's stationary little equipment you can work out on, or?
Right. No, yeah, the exercise stations individually placed as a side.
Mm-hmm.
Right. No, that's great input.
Those are fun.
We're filling up the map here. We're gonna run out of room soon. No, I mean, that's good with, people becoming more and more active. I think it's one of the things that we need to think about, ways for all age groups, actually, younger teens and adults to get outdoors and exercise as opposed to being in a structured environment.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's great input. And those workstations, exercise stations have come a long way in terms of technology. We're actually looking at some now that have an app associated with them, so you can go to the station and kind of keep track of your progress.
That's cool. And what about any kind of drawing on the inspiration of, if you go to like the Empire State Building and you put a quarter in the binocular thing and then you can see really far, but maybe some sort of thing like that, like where it's a, something interactive where it's along the water's edge and you peek through something and you see like, maybe it like distorts the image of what you're looking at, some kind of cool kaleidoscope kind of themed interactive moment. Viewfinder, yeah. Yeah, something cool like that would be nice.
No, I mean, I think that's a great idea because, that's, to me, that's not even, of course you could look around the park, which is cool, but you can even look at the city, the cityscape and the skyline.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It kind of even lets you experience the city outside of the park, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
No, that's great. We've talked a little bit about, just quickly, because I think we probably want to move on quickly, but we've talked about, the storm, and this is a little bit complicated, but quickly, the stormwater that comes into the park from these surrounding streets all comes straight into the park. So when I touched on the idea of revegetating those edges, one of the ideas is that stormwater, before it goes into the lake directly, we send it through these vegetated zones. This is called low impact design. And the plants and the soil help to kind of filter out some of the impurities and the pollutants in the water. So it's kind of a natural way to create that filtration system before the water goes into the lake. And then it becomes an amenity as well, because you can revegetate the lake, you can have the trail engaged with it, and then it's doing a job in terms of a stormwater function as well.
Nice.
So I don't know if you guys have kind of heard of concepts like that, but that might be something that we're going to be talking about. It kind of fits in with that lake edge revegetation. So is there any kind of last thoughts before we jump into the PowerPoint? Let me go around the lake one more time. Do you guys ever experience this little, what they call a duck pond area with the little fountains in there in the bridge? Thoughts on that?
I have been over there. Yeah. The ducks are fun. I mean, even just something as simple as like more picnic tables would be cool.
Okay.
Sometimes maybe you happen to find yourself there and you don't have a blanket and you want to sit down for a little bit, eat your lunch or something, or do a craft activity or read a book. Yeah, maybe, and you could add to that like hammock hookups, like people brought their own hammock.
Yes.
Those pop-up hammocks that you can hang between two posts. That would be nice if the posts were there.
No, great idea. That's very popular. We're seeing that in some of the other park spaces that we're working on. Now we're opening up a UF too, and that's a popular thing to have the hammock areas.
Mm-hmm. And then with that, like charging stations, if there's a charging, everyone needs to charge their phone while they're hanging out at the park. I know we're supposed to be off of our devices, but it's nice to have some free juice if you need it.
So there's not always a quest for that elusive outlet.
Yes.
Okay. So if you guys are good, I'm gonna bring on the presentation. We can take a look at that. See if I've got any comments up here. So like I said, right, we've got 15 slides here. And like I said, there are different places around the country, different parks, and they all kind of have different overall topics. So as we click through these, it's the same sort of exercise. You can either give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. We can add some notes. And it doesn't have to be just the overall image. If you see something in particular that you like in the image, we can pick out really detailed things as well. So what do you guys think about this? This is this is Piedmont Park in Atlanta. Let me take this to full screen so you can see it a little bit better. I don't think it's going to let me do that.
Oh.
Oops, sorry. I can zoom up on this one.
Looks like the trees are nice. Like there's some nice shade from the plants. Nice wide promenade to walk through. It's nice.
Yeah, that's something with Lake Eola that we've had some feedback on, is just the ability to maybe widen that walk to, again, accommodate the amount of users that we're getting today. Anything else? stands out to you overall? Or if not, we can move on.
Well, I assume it was a lake, right? So it's a nice lake view, I gather.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, whoever was speaking.
I like the wall, like the height of that mini wall, so kids can't just go directly to the water. And I think, I believe Krisha said if that's a lake, that's really helpful. Even though I do like our grass that you can go and lay out on the grass now, but I think this is helpful for children as well, having that barrier.
It's true, and it serves as a bench that you could sit on too.
Absolutely, during fireworks at the fountain and other events, that's definitely helpful.
Okay, cool. All right, what do you think about this? This one's, people either love it or they hate it.
I think it's a great idea, especially in our Florida heat.
Yeah, this is Kim Holdridge. I like those fountains as well.
I would say as long as they're maintained well, because there's nothing worse than having a splash pad that does not function ever.
Right.
A lot of those that it's just so sad.
Absolutely. And it's hard for kids to understand that the splash pad is broken.
Yes.
They can't play.
Yeah, that doesn't go over well.
But I do know a lot of people go out of their way to find splash pads, so you definitely get more visitors from that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was recently at the Longwood, a park in Longwood that has a splash pad like this, and they had, I guess it's sponsored by Orlando Health, and they had a little, almost like a hand sanitizer station right by it, but it was sunblock. It was a sunblock station. I thought that was genius. So if you just happen to find yourself there and you're going to splash, and it's like, don't forget to put on some sunblock while you're here. So that would be a great addition.
Something that's not in the picture, but covered benches for parents as they sit that aren't in the water. That's really great.
That's true.
Covered benches, yeah, that's a good one. Oh, I can't reach this. Let me pull this over some. Awesome, that's good. Okay, let's go on. I'm sorry, I'm going to play with this a little bit, but I'm trying to maximize the screen and still get to my symbols. But so this is a little bit more passive, but yeah, you've got access with parking, but you got a spectacular view of the city, lots of big trees.
I love the lights along the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes just unprogrammed open space is something that's kind of underappreciated when, especially as you start to urbanize. I think it's even more important, you know.
Mm-hmm. Something when I think of open spaces, I hate when I'm in a park and I have some trash and I can't find a trash can. So I think it's important to, you don't want people littering. You want to make it really easy for people to throw out their trash and recycle. So something to keep in mind.
Oops. Don't tell me time's up.
Time is up, 50 seconds.
So let's click through these really quickly here.
Okay. Pretty.
And I can add some notes to it. So what do you think about that?
It's beautiful.
I think the bridge is beautiful over the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like Crane's Roost Park. That's really nice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about this one?
Oh,
Busy, too busy.
Come on. Anybody with kids will react to this.
But I feel like there's already enough theme parks.
Okay.
You know? I don't know that it's necessary.
Hi, group 5.
Group 5, can you guys hear me?
We can.
Oh, this is neat.
Hi. Well,
Hey.
hey.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome. And we have Michelle, Mira, Carolyn's joining, John's on. We'll give it one more second or two because folks kind of mosey in. Okay, well, welcome to Group 5. Thanks for joining us this morning, or I guess this afternoon. My name's Wes. I'm with GAI Consultants, working with the city to envision the next 50 years of Lake Eola. And I'm also a resident of Orlando, so I'm very stoked for this this endeavor. And being that you're here with us, I'm imagining there's to a degree a level of stokedness that you're also experiencing. So thank you. You're welcome. This breakout room is all about us talking, collaborating. Feel free to unmute your mic and join in the conversation. Can we real quick just go around the proverbial room here and have folks introduce themselves? Perhaps we'll start with Myra, my apologies.
Mira's right.
Myra, okay.
I actually work for the city also, but as a grants manager, so not with Families, Parks, and Rec. I'm interested both professionally to see what happens with the park, but also as a resident of the city of Orlando and a park user.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us, Myra. How about Matt?
Hey guys, I'm in the same boat as Mira. I'm a resident. I've been in Orange County for about 6 years. So I'm mostly interested in like the long-term future because I plan to be here for a while. And yeah, I've never been a part of anything like this, and being more involved in the community on a leadership level is something that I think everyone should do. And that starts by leading by example, right? So that's why I'm here.
That's awesome, Matt. Thank you for joining us. How about Michelle?
Hi, I am Director of Business Development for Rose and Burrito. So I work with Max. So I just kind of wanted to sit in, make sure we had everything covered. One of my favorite things about working for Rose and Burrito is the fact that Lake Eola is across the street. I walk around sometimes at lunch. It's a great place to decompress, to de-stress. It's a great place to hang out on the weekends. Even though I live all the way in Osceola County, I absolutely love Lake Eola. So.
Awesome. It's really great to have you here. And, certainly I think your story is shared by a lot of folks who find Lake Eola not only, a great spot for hanging out at lunch, but it does draw that regional audience and you being one of those folks. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
How about Carolyn? Carolyn, your mic is muted if you're trying to speak. We'll come back to Carolyn. And John.
Yes, I'm John Perone. I work for the Families, Parks, and Recreation Division, and just extremely excited. I happened to be around, believe it or not, when the last master plan was made some 33 or 34 years ago, and really looking forward to this. I think it's an endeavor that's well deserved for this park. I mean, you have international interest in the park when people visit Orlando, and then local, of course, and then nationally. I think the fountain has probably been seen on every network there is. So excited to be here and ready to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. We're going to run through a couple activities, interactive activities here. Want to make sure y'all can see my screen. Give me a thumbs up if you can. So we'll do two activities. One, we're gonna take a virtual walk around Lake Eola, and I'd love for y'all to give me a thumbs up or thumbs down as we do that to talk about what the things you like or the things you might see opportunity for improvement. And then we'll do an image preference survey. We'll look at various images of different parks around the nation, around the world, and kind of get a sense for what you see the future of Lake Eola looking like. So we'll continue here. So like I said, the first activity is park mapping. And essentially, I'm gonna drag a little, another window into the viewport. Okay, so you can see there's already folks kind of populating this map. I'm gonna go around this lake. We're gonna walk together. We're gonna have to keep a good pace because we're already a few minutes behind. But we're gonna go around and just point out the things we like. And I know this view might be a little bit different than what you usually experience like Eola. I know we're usually on the ground plane and everything's three-dimensional. So we'll kind of work with what we got here as this plan view. But I'd like to start us off on the International Bridge, where oftentimes, every Sunday or so, there's a marketplace that extends along this bridge. And I'd like to invite you all to open your mics and just start us off with giving us some things you like or maybe dislike. And what I'll do, just to demonstrate, I'll add a like, and we'll have you comment on it. And so I actually really like farmers markets. I'll just save that one. But we'll go around the horn. In fact, just chirp up as you see fit. I mean, what do you kind of starting in this realm? What do you like or dislike about this area?
I like the shape of it. It's super unique. I wonder if it means something. It looks really symbolic in some way.
Cool.
It's kind of like a sun. Yeah, with the water. It's cool.
I think on the southern end there are the statues. Is that right? So there's like a Gandhi statue and Bolivar, some other statues. So I like bringing in that history and international, kind of the international flavor of the city.
Nice. I'm gonna use your word, international flavor.
Yeah, like what about this makes it international? Like it's been a while since I've been here, but could it possibly be more like cultural and more diverse in a way, more international?
So a little history on that is that the circular part that goes around the oak trees down at the southern end was actually set up that way so that different vendors could push carts for foods and experiences from all over the world. So the intent was that there be different types of food in that circle at different times of the year and could be changed out. And then of course the bridge was there, was added to extend that type of festivities up to the water. And then the fountain itself was just to kind of give everybody looks at the fountain in the middle of the lake, but they don't get to experience it any closer than visually. So this was kind of an attempt to recreate the fountain experience, but where you could be inside of it. I think it's a little bit lackluster right now, but it could be improved, right? So
I'm going to reinterpret. I'm sorry, I love what you're saying. I'm going to reinterpret the dislike as just kind of like more like an improvement, because maybe that's an interesting idea in and of itself, is like that immersive design is really cool. Maybe it could be enhanced.
It could be enhanced, and it could maybe work with the other fountain.
Yeah, I like that idea. That's cool.
Cool. Well, which way would y'all like to walk? You want to walk left or right from this, should we walk north towards the restrooms?
Yeah.
So as
Go
we're kind of
NASCAR.
moving,
We'll go NASCAR. We'll go left turn, left turn, left turn.
there you go. So I'm just gonna slowly, kind of crawl us through here. You call out what y'all kind of like or dislike, and I know we'll have to kind of imagine what it, imagine kind of folks walking through here, maybe the occasional police on bicycle, maybe the occasional swan walking through. We're just gonna mosey on through, and you tell me what you like or dislike or see improvements for.
Well, I'll tell a quick story about the playground, which is about 12 years ago. Where I was living in St. Louis. We came down to Florida to visit my mom, who had lived in Sarasota, and we came for like a day to Disney. And after that, we're like, let's go see like the real Orlando. Like, I'm sure there's a place where real people live and not all this touristy stuff. And we didn't really know much about Orlando and just ended up here at Lake Orlando, went to the playground. My kids loved it. And we were just like saying, wow, we could live here. And we had no idea that my husband would get a job offer in 4 months, like completely out of the blue for Orlando. So it really, this area and the playground really made us feel like this was a place where we could see ourselves.
I love that story. Thank you for sharing that. That's such a fascinating story. I feel like I can relate to it as well. I'm glad that the park is able to show maybe a more authentic side of Orlando.
Yeah,
And
totally.
I think Washington Street has a lot of opportunities also for those of you that are in that area very often. You know that both ends of Washington Street line up with the fountain. That's kind of why it's offset in the lake. So what happens is when you're coming down Washington Street from either side of the park, that fountain is just, especially at nighttime, it's unbelievable. And so I just think there's some more opportunities for this particular part of Washington, and that maybe event space could be expanded to that area, remove the curbs and just make it a nicer area for pedestrians.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Didn't know that one. That's so cool.
I think that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, you kind of get this, the fountain sort of creates this like terminus view, and it's really well framed on that street. Yeah, that's awesome. So let's work our way up. We're walking by the restrooms. And there's kind of like a nice little canopied area where you often see a lot of different types of birds. We're kind of walking through this little memorial area with the flags. Y'all remember that? I always see kids kind of hanging out, jumping through these little areas, these little squares. Whoops. Sorry. Does anyone use this open green space ever to play Frisbee or?
I know the place closer to the sculpture, so a little further northeast. My kids went to Howard, so at one point my daughter's theater group was coming over there a couple times a week to rehearse right there out in the open.
They would rehearse kind of like in this little circle area?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So, I mean, I think that shows how the park edge relates to some of these other public life assets that are in the area, whether it's a school or, it's a prominent corner that is certainly, an opportunity to engage outside of the park. That's kind of cool. We'll make a reference to that.
I love that space because it is so flexible. There's ample power, and it's a big lawn, so it's just a really neat place to, and you can change it. We've had stages placed on the street that face the park, and we've had stages up under the trees that face to the north or to the east. And depending on the event, it's just a great place. It's very, very, extremely flexible.
Awesome. Is it bad for the host to like something? I'm gonna like this little peninsula whenever this loads. When I first moved to Orlando, I actually met my now wife about 2 weeks after moving here. And our first date was hanging out on this little peninsula.
Mm-hmm.
Although I did accidentally put my hand in some geese poop, but other than that, I mean, it was pretty awesome first date. Oh, I crashed. Sorry.
So the gazebo there,
Yeah.
that's not something that can be reserved, right?
Are you talking about the ting, or it was sort of
Yep.
Asian inspired? Yeah. Is that something you like or dislike?
I think it would be kind of cool if people could reserve it, and if it were, I don't know, improved a little bit so you could have a little party or even a first date or something special there that you'll know that it's available.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good point. It can be reserved, by the way, and maybe we need to do a better job of advertising that.
Right. Even just a sign, one that's not like too tacky, but just so people, as they're walking by, oh, I like this spot. Oh, look, you can reserve it. Just call this number or go to this website,
Or maybe something even technology-wise, where to find out more, you can hit a QR code or something.
That's been like an overarching theme in my mind throughout all of this, like the whole park, like charging cell phones. I know that Wi-Fi is something that's going to be improved overall, but even just charging devices and workstations and power outlets, things like that, I think that's going to draw a lot more people to the park.
Can you help us, Matt, identify maybe a location where, I imagine you're talking park wide.
Yeah.
Just to put a note down. Is there a particular spot you like?
Well, I was thinking the playground too, because parents are going, they're not dropping their kids off, but they're hanging out while their kids are playing. Maybe they need to charge their phones.
Roger.
Like the playground overall, if that could be more exciting for children, the next 50 years, kids are going to want the next thing to stimulate them. That's not just technology, but parents are going to want the technology. So maybe a balance of the two in the playground and kind of spots where people are hanging out,
Roger that.
I would say charging stations in a few different areas would be great, but to try to minimize the use of technology in the playground or discourage it
I know
would be better.
It's such a balance, because this is a 50-year plan. Like, where's the world going to be in 50 years? We're looking at artificial intelligence, robotics, like the iPhone, who knows what. Like I think the park should be a place to escape from that, but it also can't be so obsolete that people are like, well, I can't get anything done there, or I don't know.
No, it's an extremely pertinent topic. That's awesome. Well, we're gonna pick up into a slight jog as we make our way. We're gonna start jogging a little bit. And what's interesting, I think, about this area is really this corner is such a diverse experience. We go from the exposure of this sort of Asian inspired architecture. We find ourselves into a peninsula, and we can get lost in this little area of like little fountains and ponds, and then we were immersed in tree canopy as we jogged through this little area. And it's just, I think one thing I like, again, not trying to impose my likes, but I just love how diverse sort of the experiences through this area.